Welcome to the Basics of Virtual Assistants podcast, your go-to destination for all things virtual assistant. I'm your host, Paul, and I'm absolutely thrilled to have you join us today. Just 4 short years ago, I took the leap into the world of virtual assistants, and let me tell you, I have never looked back. Now it's my turn to help you take the same exciting path. As we explore this world together, I'll be sharing my experiences, insight, and all the valuable lessons I've learned along the way. So get ready to explore the world of virtual assistants, uncover its limitless potential, and let me guide you on your path to becoming a successful virtual assistant. The transformation into a skilled virtual assistant starts right here, right now. Let's get started. Hi, Ash. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you on. Before we jump into it, tell my audience about yourself. Tell them all about yourself, your business or your businesses, because you run more than one business. Yeah, just share a little bit about yourself.
Hey, Paul, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here to chat to you today. I love podcasting, as I know you do as well. So my name is Ashleigh. I am the co-founder of a business called Rainbow Sky Creations, and we create courses and resources to help teachers and make their lives easier. We also have a membership that helps new teachers in their teaching journey. And then my second business is called Social by Ashleigh Smith. And one of the things I do for Rainbow Sky is I run all of our socials. And I've learned so many things along the way. So I use that knowledge to help clients and coach them in social media to help build up their social media following, but also get a strategy around posting on social media, because as we know, it can be a minefield out there.
It is definitely a minefield. And for those who don't know, Ash is one of my amazing clients. I have been working for Ash and Alicia in Rainbow Sky Creations for, I think it is nearly 3 years now, which is absolutely insane that we've been together that long. And I think that is as much a part of how amazing you and Ash and Alicia are to work for as how good I am at my job. So yes, and I have asked Ash to come on the podcast today because I think it would be really important to get a business owner's perspective of hiring VAs, having VAs contact you, all of that sort of stuff. So I wanted to start off by asking you to talk a little bit about why you and Alicia first hired a VA and how you came to that process, because I think sometimes the backstory for that sort of thing is a really great mindset for new VAs to see, like why business owners get to that point, like why they actually decide to hire VAs.
For sure. So we have got more than one VA in our business now, but starting back to when we first started to think about hiring a VA, it was because we were at a point in our business where we couldn't do all of it ourselves, and we had so many different balls in the air, and we were working on parts of our business, or we were working inside our business on jobs that really could have been done by somebody else. And when you're first looking to hire a VA, or you're in that phase of your business, it's really scary, because you think, well, I can just do this. Like, I've got to explain it to somebody else. And then you have the commitment of paying somebody and employing them. And as a business owner, I know so many people, they just are too scared to go and hire somebody and hire a VA. But Alicia and I were doing a lot of those sorts of work tasks during the day. But then at night, we would sit on our computers and do like TV jobs. We call them TV jobs, like a job that you can sit in front of the TV and do bits and pieces for the business. They are non-thinking jobs, and they're jobs that you can definitely train someone else up to help you do. And we really need to change our mindset around hiring a VA and how to look to hire a VA. And we knew that we wanted to hire somebody. We knew that we were doing too many of those TV jobs, those TV style jobs, as we like to call them. But we just didn't know where to look to hire and how to hire and how much it was going to cost, and all of the worries that you might have as a new VA, we actually had as a business owner as well. So we ended up hiring a friend that was a teacher. We have got a teaching business. So we thought we want someone who knows a little bit about the teaching world. And she worked and she came and did it as a bit of a side hustle, but it was a learning process for all of us. So there was 3 of us involved now, and she was doing all sorts of different higgledy-piggledy bits and pieces. In the end, it was too much for her. She wasn't a trained VA and she wanted to focus on her own family. And that is when Pole actually introduced herself into our emails And it was actually the most perfect timing. Paul suggested that she could do something for our business that this other VA wasn't doing. And it was not even something that we even entertained the idea of. But Paul now manages all of our inbox. And that was her main selling point. She said, this is what I can do. This is my superpower. This is what I'm really good at. And Alicia and I spoke back and forth, and we're like, oh, this girl, she's emailed us. What should we do? And I said, I think we should just give it a go, because I'd heard on other like business podcasts and things that VAs did this sort of thing, and it was the scariest thing to hand over, but it has changed our business and our lives.
I remember when I first sent that email and I was like, I have done customer service emails for a long time, but I was like, I can fix this problem for you. And then I was like, I really hope that is a problem they suffer from, because otherwise I'm out there for no reason. Yes. When you were talking, something that I found really interesting that you said was that, you guys were concerned about like pricing and like how to find VAs. And I think that's really common for business owners. And I think for virtual assistants, that is why it's so important to reach out to businesses that you think you can work with, because one, they might not have even thought about handing over that task. Like, honestly, like you said, it's not a lot of people realize that you can pay someone to do your emails, which can be so time consuming in businesses, especially like as you grow and customers are reaching out and that sort of thing too. I think a lot of people don't understand that virtual assistants are out there and willing to do those sorts of, like you said, TV tasks, tasks that you could easily train someone and hand it off to. I think it's really crucial that virtual assistants don't wait for clients to come to them. I think it's really important to reach out, because had I never reached out to you, I don't think that we would have connected now, probably because we have a lot more connections with other clients and stuff. But originally, I don't think we would have ever really connected had I not made the effort to reach out to you.
And I'll just add in there, Paul, too, is that if you hadn't have reached out and we hadn't have started working with a properly trained VA, someone that was their job, then we wouldn't have known, and we wouldn't have been able to raise our standards to what it should be like. And since then, we've hired other VAs. We've hired friends again, people in the teaching industry, but we've hired other people, and it's made the whole process so much easier. So we've learned, as well as you learning from us, we've learned from you. And I've got to say to everyone out there too, the first thing that Paul did, as soon as I said, yes, let's go for it, we sent over a contract, we agreed on all the pricing. And the first thing that she did is she went through a few of our emails that were sitting there in our inbox and our Teachers Pay Teachers store. And she started creating a spreadsheet of all the common answers that we had already created and written back to different customers. And that was like hugely impressive for me, because every time someone asked a question, I would have to, or Alicia would have to think, right, how are we going to answer that? And we'd have to write it all from scratch. And it seems so simple, but if that is a few minutes every single time and you add that up over the course of a day or a week or a month or a year, think about all of that time that's taking away from your business. And Paul has put all of that together. And that's something that I would never have done as a business owner. And it was impressive, but also, it was really helpful.
Yeah, I think that sometimes as a VA, it's so important to come in with like this setup mindset. Like, even if they're a big business and they're already, like, you guys are quite an established business and you're already running really efficiently, sometimes we can come in from a different perspective and just set those little things up. Like you said, you know the answer to that question. It may take you the time to think about it and type it out. But for me, if I'm having to come back and say to you every time, oh, I got this question, like, what's the answer again? Like, that's just so much back and forth that we can avoid. And so by setting up that document, I'm able to minimize extra contact. Not that I don't love talking to you, but we all need to save that time of like communicating back and forth. And another thing, I think that together as a group, you, Alicia and I, we really put those like procedures in place for tasks that we're doing all the time. Like, and both Alicia and I work in Kartra together. So it's something that we do back and forth. Now we have those procedures put in place so we both know exactly what we're doing every time. And I feel like that's so important for virtual assistants when they first start with clients, is to really think about setup and what can you do to make it easier for both you and your client when you're working together. Because if you don't set up those procedures and you're having to go back every time, it kind of almost voids the point of having a virtual assistant. So it's really important to set those things up when you first start out too.
For sure. And
Yeah.
as a business owner, you do want to start handing things off. Like that's why you've got the virtual assistant. But also don't be
Yes.
scared to ask questions, especially when those very first instructions are given to you. Paul and I were talking back and forth yesterday or the day before, and I asked her to do something brand new that I haven't asked her to do before. And she said, "Oh, do you mean this?" And it's not what I meant at all. And I'm so glad that she clarified, because it was something completely different that I wanted her to do. And she would have gone and put time and effort into doing something, and I wouldn't not have gotten the result that I needed or wanted for the business either. So it works both ways.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it is so important to always try and have open lines of communication and never assume things, because that can cause issues if there's like that miscommunication. Your clients would rather you ask questions to clarify than to take it on your own initiative and then make a mistake, or like you said, waste time doing the wrong thing, which I absolutely would have had I not clarified that task yesterday.
Yeah.
But yes, it's so important to ask those questions, and especially when you're setting up any procedures, to really be clear about, okay, like this is a procedure I set up. Is it right? Is this what you want me to do? Like it takes a little bit more front end time, but it saves time in the long run. And I think that's so important, even if it does take you extra time in the beginning, to set those procedures up right before you jump in and move on to the next step. So I wanted to talk to you about not any specific VA, but I wanted to talk about like how each of your VAs kind of like reached out.
So we have got several VAs, and Paul is always saying don't contact businesses via DM. And I would back that up 100%. We have quite a large following with Rainbow Sky. And it's really difficult because we do get a lot of DMs all the time with all sorts of different things. And I would even put it out there that if you want to do any sort of like influencer, working with influencers or anything like that, don't contact them via DM. That's not where the actual work happens. It's in their emails. That is the place to contact anyone if you're actually really serious about speaking to them. And I know that Paul says this a lot, but research your clients. Research what they do, how you can actually help their situation. I was telling her a story the other day that somebody messaged me on TikTok and they wanted me to do something for them. And they called me Angel twice. And I wrote back to them saying, my name is Ashleigh, and it says it in my profile. And they apologized and said, but do you want to do this? Now, I ignored them. And a few months later, they recontacted me and used my name, Angel, again. I was like, that's not my name. And this person isn't paying attention. They're just copying and pasting. They clearly, it's not me who they want to work with. They just want to work with anyone. So I think that that is a very important point. But I kind of digressed. So we've got different VAs. Some of them are friends that are teachers. So we've got one who's not working with us at the moment, but she's on maternity leave. But she was doing some casual teaching and she just needed some extra work to do. We've got another one who is a family member who actually lives overseas, and she's in the entertainment industry. So she was not doing a lot of work during COVID, and that's when we took her on, and she's a real creative. So she does lots of creative bits and pieces for us in Canva, and she also does a little bit of replying to feedback and things like that. So we got those two through contacts. We also have got another VA that helps us. I probably wouldn't call her a VA as much as a contractor, but she helps us with our website. And we hired her through an online platform called Upwork. And that's how we found her. We also have someone who helps manage our podcast and does all the editing for that. And we also found her through Upwork too. So there's lots of different ways that you can connect with people. We usually go to Upwork if we want a very specific skill. Paul is the only person that we've hired who has reached out to us via email, but she's the only one that's really done that well as well. So that is what her point of difference and her standout was when we took her on and hired her.
And I must say, being in email management, I see a lot of emails come through for my clients from other VAs, and I often find it quite funny. I always forwarded them on because you never know, they might have a skill that I don't. But the amount of people who don't use first name or use, hi, Rainbow Sky, and you're like, that is our business name.
Yeah.
It does not take much. It does not take much to find people's names nowadays online. Like, it's in their Instagram bio or their TikTok bio, almost always. It's on their About Me page if you go to their website. Most of the time it's on the website homepage. Searching clients is so important, because if you reach out to someone and you just go, oh, hi, Rainbow Sky, I want to work with you. That gives them one, nothing to come back with. Two, you've not connected with them at all on a personal level. And it just, I don't know, it just gives them nothing for them to come back to you for. When I wrote my email, I was like, I can help you with this, and this. It's three tasks I'm very good at and I can help you with. And it sets you apart from everybody else when you're reaching out to clients.
For sure.
And I
And
think
that
that's so
those
important.
tasks can grow as you go on as well. Like Paul does lots of different things for our business now. Primarily she works in customer service and in our emails, but does lots of other bits and pieces. So it doesn't have to be that one task in the end when you
Yes.
start working with somebody.
There's always the potential to grow. And I think that's super important to realize too. Clients will come to you and say, hey, like I have this job, can you do it? And you can obviously say yes or no, but you're never really stuck in that one job. Like if you are polite and efficient and do the right thing, then those clients are going to want to continue to work with you and your business will just continue to grow with your existing clients and new clients.
From a business owner's perspective, I was just talking about this with my own business coach about an hour ago. We were talking about online business managers, which is a type of virtual assistant. And lots of the people that we were talking to were saying that their businesses have grown and they have made more money in their business since hiring this particular online business manager, but also the same is true for VAs. So when you hire that VA and it's scary for the business owner at first, in the end, it's going to be so beneficial to your business if it's the right match. So you as a VA are an asset to that business once you get in there and you're all onboarded, you understand what's happening and you're a part of that business. The other thing that I would say when we were talking about getting to know potential clients is that so many potential clients have got an option where you can opt into their email list. They might give out a freebie, or if it's a brick and mortar store, they might have some sort of percentage off. I would highly recommend that you pop your email address in there and just get the vibe of what they are doing in their business. See the language that they're using. What sort of brand voice do they have? Are they a happy, upbeat sort of brand, or are they a little bit more serious, or are they really committed to the environment? Because you finding some of those key values and aligning with that is going to be really important for the owner of that business when they're looking to hire somebody.
Absolutely. And also the things they send out in those emails, you can use that to see where their pain points might be or like specific tasks they're doing in their business. And even just down to what platform they're using to send their emails. When I first started with you guys and I started helping with some of other tasks in your business, I had no knowledge about Kartra, which is what you guys use. Knowing beforehand that you guys use that, I was able to go and learn about that. And you can learn pretty much anything from YouTube. If you need to know how to do a task, you can find a video on YouTube. I think from their emails, you can gather, are they even sending out regular emails is a really good place to start, because if they're not, then that's something you might be able to assist them with. But also, like you said, their tone of voice, what they're doing in their business, how their business looks like it's going forward. Are they talking about a launch that's coming up? Well, then you can contact them and say, hey, like I can see that you're launching soon. I can help you with this, or this. You're so right. Connecting with them on more than one platform and in more than one place is so important, because not every business owner shares everything in the one place. It's not all on their website. It's not all on their Instagram. It's not all on their TikTok. Like nowadays we're spread out so much. And if you follow them in more than one place or look in more than one place, you're going to find all types of different information about their business. And everything you learn helps you to reach out to them in a way that is so specific to their business that they feel like you know them. And that is so important. It's almost like setting yourself up before you even reach out to them, because you understand their pain points, you understand where they're going with their business. When you make it that bit more personal, it's not as easy for them to just delete your email and fob you off. Draws them in and they actually want to know more about you and they want to read your email.
For sure. I think email is a great place to start too, because for business owners, I hear it time and time again as a coach and as a mentee with my own business coach. People get scared of sending emails. They don't know what to email. They know that they should have an email list. Sometimes they don't even have one set up. But as business owners, that is really, really important. And they need help with that. This is another thing on their list. And often business owners are in the creative space. They've created this new idea to help people. And writing emails is probably not one of their most favored tasks. So
yes,
go in and
absolutely.
find those tasks that they might not want to be doing, or that you could definitely help them with. And I will add in here as well. I've got a friend who's got a business and she's a sleep consultant, and she's often hiring VAs, and she often finds that things don't work out very well with her VA. And I think one of the things that she does is she asks them to do too many things. So she's trying to find one jack of all trades, which is the mistake we made at the beginning as well. But also she asks them to do things that is not particularly in their wheelhouse. And I think finding something that is in your wheelhouse that you can then go and say, this is what I'm really good at, is important. The other thing that she does say is that she wants to hire a VA that is very proficient with AI and ChatGPT. And the reason she wants that is because she wants to get more bang for her buck. So she wants someone to be able to use that, look at the whatever ChatGPT has given and analyze it, change it up a little bit, and then use it, because she thinks that, and it's true, that you could get, say they're writing social media captions. They could write 5 social media captions in the time that it takes 1 if you're using AI to help you. And that always sticks with me. I think Paul and I were talking about that a couple of weeks ago. But if you're not using AI and you're not seeing how to use ChatGPT to your advantage, then go and learn. And it's really easy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is such a good point. I know you, but also my other clients are all for using AI wherever we can. And it's not always just about bang for your buck. It's just about efficiency. And when you use AI, it can do a better job than you can do most of the time, or it can make it sound better than we can most of the time. And it is definitely something that as a VA, if you don't know how to use it, you should be learning. It is actually something I'm going to do a whole episode on, because I think as a VA, being efficient might feel like you're cutting your own costs, but people are more likely to stay with you if you are giving them the results they're looking for. And that is just basic business. No matter where you are in business, if you're not getting the results you're looking for, you're not going to stay doing that same thing. And it is the same for virtual assistants. If you're not giving your clients the results they're looking for, they're not going to stay with you. And AI can absolutely help you with that. Back to something you said about a virtual assistant with jack of all trades, I feel like so many businesses will struggle to find someone like that, because no one knows everything and no one is good at everything. And as a virtual assistant, I think it's super important to specialize on what you are good at. Focus on what you're good at and get really good at it, because there are clients out there who are willing to pay you to do those tasks. And the businesses that haven't quite got to the point where they're looking for individual virtual assistants for specific jobs will get there eventually. Like, they will get to the point where they realize, okay, well, I can't hire one VA for all of these jobs. I need to hire a VA for my newsletter. I need to hire a VA for my customer service. And the people who are at that point in their business are probably the type of people you want to be starting to work with when you're looking for long-term clients.
For sure.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes it can be so easy to just take on clients and do all of the tasks they're asking for you, because you really want to be working as a VA and you really want to be working in that industry. And in the beginning, obviously, we all end up in that spot. But I think long term, all VAs need to be specializing and really focusing on specific tasks, because your big businesses you will end up working with long term will understand that you're better off hiring someone for that specific job than you are hiring for a multiple of jobs. When you think about, like, in a 9 to 5 big business, or even in teaching, for example, especially in high school teaching, they are hiring a science teacher. They're not hiring, hiring English science teachers. They're hiring specific science teachers. So I feel like in big business, it's the same. I think that is something that you want to aspire to in your virtual assistant business. And sometimes it's not something that you're going to start out with. I know I did not start out as just customer service. I was a jack of all trades VA, and I very quickly narrowed it down to customer service, because I was like, I am not good at social media. I should not be a social media VA. That is not my strong point.
And also, you've got to find things that you're good at and that you enjoy, because if you're not enjoying your tasks, you're not going to be motivated to do the work. And it's not like a 9 to 5 job. You've got so many perks that you get to work for yourself, the flexibility, but you also need to be self-motivated within that as well. So find something that you actually enjoy doing, and that will come through in your work.
Yes, absolutely. When you enjoy what you're doing, it shows. One of my other clients always says, I can't believe you like doing emails. But the satisfaction when a customer comes back and they're happy, for me, it is like the icing on the cake. Doing what you love in your business is one of the many perks of being a virtual assistant. And I think it is really important to focus on that when you're choosing the type of tasks you take on for clients.
Yeah, and trying different things. Like we're saying, don't be the jack of all trades. But sometimes starting out there and trying different things, knowing exactly what you like, what you don't like, things that you'd never do again, start jotting them down, start making a list of those things that you are enjoying throughout the day.
Absolutely. And if there is a task that you don't enjoy, you can always go back to your client and say, like, I'm not wanting to do this task for you anymore. Like, I'm happy to, keep doing it till you find someone else, or I'm going to finish up on this date for that task. Your clients are all in business and they will understand. I think sometimes it can be so easy to look at business owners and think they are a tier above everybody else, especially as virtual assistants when you're starting out. They have all been where you are. They have all been starting fresh. That's important to remember when you're communicating with them. Like, they will understand if you say, hey, I took on this task and I actually don't love it and I don't want to keep doing it. And like, it's very important not to just like leave them in the lurch and like drop them. They will absolutely understand if you say that you don't want to do anything anymore. And I think that's in all communication. If you say to them, I underestimated how much time this task was going to take me and I'm going to need more time, they're going to understand, because I guarantee you when they first started out, they thought they would be able to do something quicker than they could.
Yeah. And they've probably been doing the task that they've offloaded to you at some point in their business as well.
Yes, absolutely. And so they understand.
Yeah, I think they'd prefer, like, I know as a business owner, I'd prefer it if our VA came to us and said, this task is not resonating with me, because you know that you're not going to get the best work out of somebody. They're not going to be the most efficient version of themselves either. So you want them to be doing something that they enjoy and that they're good at. So don't be afraid to say that task wasn't quite right for you.
Yes, absolutely. And in the same token, when you're communicating with your clients, they might share with you that there's a task that they're doing that they don't love or is taking them a lot of time. You can always offer to do those tasks or to learn how to do those tasks. I know for me, most of my clients, when I've gone, hey, look, I've like noticed this thing in your business that we could be doing better or I could help you with, they have been more than happy to pass that off. And it's either something they haven't thought about, or they, hadn't had the time to set up all the processes of offhanding it. And so when you come to them and you say to them, like, I'm willing to do that for you, it just takes another pressure off them and allows them to do things in their business to grow. Anyway, let's jump into the next topic. Ash, I want to talk about next what to do when things go bad. Have you had an experience with a virtual assistant where things have gone a little bit pear-shaped and haven't worked out how you had expected them to?
We haven't had anything that has been drastically bad, but what we have had is tasks returned that definitely was not what we wanted or asked for. And we have had VAs leave us in the lurch, and that's not fun either. So the tasks that have come back that haven't been exactly what we wanted them to be is really an easy fix. And something that we use a lot is a software called Loom. It's an online website where you can screen record what you're doing on your screen. So when we have a new VA, we do a lot of that. We say whatever the task is, we screen record us doing that particular task, and then we send it off to them for them to have a go, and then for it to come back for us to review. And then once that process is done, we like the VA to go off and just work on the whatever the task is, because if it's always coming back for us to review, that's just adding more to our plate. And being a business owner is a little bit like being a mum. And anyone who is out there who is a mum or like runs a household, you have got a million things on your mental to-do list. And being a business owner is exactly the same. You have got a million things, like the tiniest little itty bitty thing you're thinking about, and then the huge strategy you're thinking about. So having a virtual assistant is your way of getting some of those things off your list. It's like delegating to your husband. And you want it to be a really good husband, not a husband that doesn't listen to you and not do it, right?
Yes.
So I've digressed a little bit. So we use Loom to be able to delegate those things, and for the task to then to be independent of us. Now, when tasks come back and they're not exactly what we want, either we've delegated the wrong thing, so it's been something that's been on the too creative side that we wanted to really align with our business and that person hasn't been able to do that, or we haven't given them enough information to be able to execute it. And sometimes as a business owner, it's really hard to look and go, oh, well, that mistake was mine, or I need to give a little bit more information there. And I think as a VA, from that perspective, you just need to be really gracious with the business owner that this is a baby of theirs. They want the very best for their business. And sometimes they do make mistakes, and sometimes they're not really very good at giving instructions. Being a teacher, we know that different people receive information in different ways. But
yes, absolutely.
not all business owners are teachers, right? They haven't all had that experience. So we need to take into account that the way that you comprehend something might not be the particular way that the business owner wants it to be perceived either. So that's one half of it. And then the other half is leaving people in the lurch. That's really difficult. And if we talk about that mental load, it's just adding on to that. And I would really recommend that if you can't keep working as a virtual assistant for whatever reason, is you explain that to them and give them some notice, not just say it's ending today, because then that has happened for us. And it's really difficult because then you're left to do all of those tasks that you thought that you had offloaded.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another important thing on like not leaving people in the lurch too is you are making a name for yourself as a virtual assistant, like every business owner. And when you leave a client like that, it is similar to treating a customer. For example, if you had an e-commerce business and you sent a product out and it broke in the mail and you were like, well, I'm not refunding you, or I'm not replacing you, or it wasn't what they wanted, and not letting them return it to you, you're going to get a bad rep. And it is the same for virtual assistants. And I know that people think like not everybody knows each other, but in the business world, someone is connected to the person that you are working with, and you could lose an opportunity long term. Word of mouth is so important as a virtual assistant, and especially in the business community itself. But you need to be really mindful not only of not leaving that client in the lurch, because maybe they have a task that you can do for them down the track. Maybe you can come back and work with them in a different capacity. There's this saying that you should never burn bridges, and I stand by this. Always try and leave on a positive note. And also, it's just not nice. You wouldn't want someone to do that. You can go about it, but you are very right. Try not to leave them, dump them. And going back to your Loom comment.
Yes.
I love Loom. I did not know about Loom until Ashleigh, and thank goodness, because Ashleigh, there have been some tasks that especially in Kartra, that it's not easy to like type out the steps, even with screenshots. And Loom has been a lifesaver to be able to go in and go, we are clicking on this button, and this is what it looks like, and this is this color, and this is, and so if you are a new VA and a client has given you a task and you're struggling to understand, go to them and say, hey, like, could you take a video? Loom's amazing. It is free. You can get paid versions, but it is free, so anyone can use it. And it's a really great tool to suggest to clients as well to use, especially for tasks where it's a visual thing. When you said about how the business is like their baby, you have to remember that this is most likely new for them too. And so it's a learning curve for everybody. We're all on the same learning curve, and you can't expect them to be ahead of you, especially if you are their first VA. They're not going to be ahead of you where you are. Like, you guys are going to be building it together. For you, Ash, you and Alicia spent years building that business before I came on board. And, for me to just step in and take even one tiny bit would have been so difficult for you guys.
For sure. I speak to a lot of different business owners, especially mums. Like, I see them at the coffee shop, and they might have, like, I've got an interior designer friend, and I've got someone who does like installs for real estate agents. And we're always talking about different ways to streamline our businesses. And one of the things I always say to them is get a VA. And one thing that I hear so much is they say, I could never let anyone take over my emails. And that, like, I'm just going to call bullshit on that, because that is so untrue. In any aspect of any business, you can offload it. It just needs to be done the right way. And you need to, for us, when Paul said, I could take over your emails, that was so scary. And we're like, how would she even do this? She's going to be contacting us every time an email comes in to ask about something. That does not happen because she's really good at her job, but she also built the trust with us that we knew that she could do this role. She showed us how it was going to work. She showed us that she was committed by creating that spreadsheet. So you as the VA are almost the leader in a lot of ways as well. The business owner's learning, they're offloading things that they've never offloaded before, and you as the VA are coming in as that professional person that knows what they're doing.
Yes. And I feel like sometimes VAs can get this mindset of like, I'm just an employee. And yes, we are. But I feel like it's really important to have this like collaborative mindset when you go in, because these people have been running their business a lot longer than you, but that doesn't always mean that something won't be worthwhile showing them in their business. Like, yes, they've been doing it this way for so long, but if you've been working with another business and they do it this way, it's worth coming over and saying, hey, look, like I'm happy to do it the way you're doing it, but I've seen it done this way and it works effectively. And sometimes it is just a new perspective for that business owner. And they go, gosh, we could do that and it would work so well. Why didn't we think of that before?
Yeah.
And I think it's no different than when business owners collaborate, or especially in the business community, like the teacher business community. I know a lot of you guys are super close and have that communication and that, back and forth, like, oh, I did this and it worked, or I did that. And I think it's just as important for VAs to communicate with other VAs and have a community. Selfless plug, go and join my Facebook group. But also I think like that collaboration with your clients is so important, And Ash, I just had a thought. Something that I thought would be really great to talk about is tools that we use together to collaborate. Because, we use lots of different tools to collaborate. We use Slack. I actually was just talking on my last episode that I spoke about. I had an episode all about setting boundaries as a VA. And I was speaking about how the fact that you and we don't have each other's mobile numbers at all. We speak entirely through Slack. And how that's so important. Setting those boundaries. I have some clients who I speak to on the phone every single day. I have one client who I speak to on the phone every day from Monday to Friday. But for us, we use Slack because it's so efficient for what we need.
But Slack is really helpful. We're mums, all of us, Alicia and I, and Pole, and we need to set boundaries. And we always say to our VAs that we don't work on Sundays. Sometimes we work on Sundays, but we don't want to be communicating with everybody on a Sunday. So we all know that if someone sends a message on a Sunday, that doesn't necessarily need to be received or replied to until the next working day. And I know you said you've got another business owner that is really good on setting those boundaries too. And that is why we set up Slack, because then we kept it all in one place. So we know that that's a business thing. Yes. Alicia and I, we only ever communicate via Messenger. We don't actually text message each other, even though we've got that. If it's something like really, really personal, we might send each other a text message. But other than that, that business side is there on Messenger. So I know if I look down at my phone and I've got a notification on Messenger, it's probably Alicia and I need to talk to her, or Slack, I know that it's you or it's Alicia or someone else in our team. So, and then my messages are just for my personal life, which I think is really important, especially as a VA when you may be communicating with lots of different business owners. What are some other tools we use? We also use a project management tool called Trello.
Yes, we do.
We switched over from Monday, which was our project management tool before, and we switched over to Trello because it was cheaper, I think, in the end.
Yeah, and I use Monday for several clients too, and I love Trello, and Trello is great for what we do, but Monday is another good one for anyone who's got like multiple people, I think. Like my other client who I use Monday for, we have 5 people in our Monday board that we back and forth with. So that's really handy too. Yes. Also on Slack, just before we jump off to Trello, you can mute notifications on Slack. I know that Alicia and you both often are like, I'm not on. And that's really good for me, because if I send you a message, I know that it's, you're not on, and that's fine. Not that if there was anything super urgent, I have ways of contacting you. But I do love that about Slack, And also we do have direct messages on Slack, which is good too, because sometimes you try to organize things for the other person in Slack and you need that direct message.
We also use something called LastPass.
Oh, yes.
Which helps save all of the passwords. So we have an account. We set up inside that account like different websites that we know Pole needs to access. And it has a master password for us, but then we share it with Pol. So she doesn't actually have to see any of our passwords, but she can use that LastPass to log into different things of ours.
Which is fantastic, especially when you're using multiple programs with your clients like we do. We have lots of different programs that we use. It just means if you guys change your password, I don't have to stress because it auto updates in LastPass, comes across to me, and it just keeps that privacy for everybody. And I would recommend LastPass to anybody who is working as a virtual assistant. I think it is such a great way to share your passwords, or for your clients to share their passwords without them worrying about what you can and can't access.
That's a huge worry for business owners about sharing passwords. I hear it all the time as well in different Facebook groups that I'm a part of, that they're too scared to share passwords or VAs can access too much information. That is a bit of a mindset block of the business owner, but this does help them feel a little bit better about it.
Yes, absolutely. And I know a lot more programs now are bringing in employee access to certain programs too, so that they can only access what you allow them to access. Shopify is one. And not that you use Shopify, but I know I have another client who uses Shopify, and I have access to her Shopify, but she has it set so that I can only access the things she needs me to access. So that's another really great thing to remember when working with clients. LastPass is great for passwords, and then checking whether the program they're using has like access settings for employees, because that is another really great one to use. Anyway, that brings us to the end of today's episode. Thank you so much, Ash, for coming on. It has been so much fun, and I feel like this is such a beneficial episode to anyone who listens to it. Before we go, please tell everybody where they can find you.
Thank you so much for having me. So you can find my business at Rainbow Sky Creations. We are everywhere at Rainbow Sky Creations website, TikTok, Instagram. And then if you need a little bit of help with your social media, it is Social by Ashleigh Smith. So come over and say hi.
You absolutely should. Ash has been helping me with all of my social media, and she's amazing. Anyway, that is the end of the episode. Thank you so much, Ash, and we will see you all next week.
Thank you. Bye.